Today, I'll share 7 questions you can ask that's going to determine how much trust is in your relationship. We probably don't think about trust as much as we should. I know we all know it's important in relationships. When they talk about relationships breaking up, it often has to do with things like communication or money or a betrayal. But underlying everything is trust. All relationships either grow in trust or weaken. And we do things intentionally or unintentionally that can erode trust. We can be the ones that build trust if we do the right things. So we're going to cover 7 areas, 7 qualities that we all need to grow in trust. And when we do, our relationships are amazing. First of all, trust has to be extended without somebody earning it to start. There's no way to start a trusting relationship if you run from someone because you're afraid or don't trust them. Someone must make the first move. The first risk of trust is like planting a seed in the ground. You've extended an offer of trust, and now the other person will respond to either water it so it grows or not water it and let it stay dormant. Those small actions you do demonstrate trust. And once that plant begins to grow, it's going to continue to be watered by both people and it's going to grow. Or if it's not watered, it's going to wither. And sadly, sometimes people take a blowtorch to that plant and kill it. There are times when trust is broken at such deep levels and so significantly that it kills the trust that was developed in the relationship. Sometimes the trust is so damaged it can't be repaired, but there are other times when taking one of these 7 actions will begin to restore trust. And of course, trust is on a spectrum. If you're involved in online dating, you're going to be at the very beginning stages. You might be taking a risk and going to coffee with somebody. You don't know them at all yet. You're in that stage of planting a seed. For others, it may be a coworker or a new friend, and you're in the trust building stage. You have a growing and thriving plant, but it's young. Many of you may have a long-term marriage, long-term relationships and friendships that you've developed, and you have a deep level of trust. No matter where you are in the spectrum, there are always actions we can take that deepen trust in that relationship. So I'm going to cover these 7 areas and stick around to the end because I'm going to give you an exercise that you can do to deepen trust. If you find this content helpful, would you do me a great favor and like and subscribe to the channel? It really does help the word to get out to more and more people. I really appreciate it. So here's question 1. Am I safe sharing my thoughts, my feelings, and concerns without any fear of judgment or rejection? This really speaks to your relationship's level of vulnerability. Obviously, we have to feel comfortable to be able to share deeply. And I see this sometimes when people have been hurt in prior relationships. They have a hard time being vulnerable, and it's understandable because to be vulnerable is to take a risk. When someone is being vulnerable with you, they are trusting you with their information. And it's an honor to be able to hear about someone's life, maybe a weakness that they have or something that they struggle with. When someone does that, if you trust them in return, hopefully you can say something vulnerable yourself to help them understand that, yes, you appreciate their vulnerability, you appreciate their trust, and you're going to give them something in return. When 2 people are being vulnerable, it deepens the level of trust. Something to keep in mind too when you're getting vulnerable with somebody is ask thoughtful questions that go beyond surface level topics. Maybe open-ended questions. What's something you learned about yourself recently, or what's been on your mind lately? Admitting your fears and weaknesses can help you open up conversations with others about those same kinds of things. All right, here's the second question. Do they genuinely try to understand my emotions and perspective? This reveals someone's level of empathy. And we're all different when it comes to empathy. We all have different levels of it. Some people have a gift of mercy, and they may be highly empathetic. Sometimes people go through trauma as a child, and it somehow enhances their ability to empathize with others. Some people are not caring at all, sadly. We can all exercise empathy, though, by stopping and trying to put ourselves in somebody else's shoes. By taking a moment, listening to what they're saying, and say to myself, what would I do if I were in that circumstance? How would that make me feel? How would that impact my life? It's even better if we can maybe look at their past. Sometimes people have something in their past that traumatized them. that makes sense why they might be responding to something the way they are now. When you step into somebody else's world and empathize with them, it deepens your level of trust with them. The reason it deepens that trust is because we all want to be understood and heard. When somebody else is doing that for us, it makes us give a little more trust. They're watering that plant. The third question, can I trust that we can resolve disagreements fairly and respectfully? This question exposes how they view and engage in conflict. Now, this is a touchy subject because most people don't like conflict, but conflict done well can actually deepen a relationship and deepen trust in a relationship. It's one of those things that sometimes make or break a relationship, a friendship, a marriage. We want to be able to engage in conflict respectfully and be able to try and understand the other person's point of view, not only to be heard, but to hear the other person. When you can do that, you can deepen your level of trust. We're going to be talking about conflict more extensively in future videos. All right, here's question 4. Are their actions and behavior generally stable over time? This is a big trust issue that people overlook sometimes. This demonstrates consistency. Consistency breeds trust. We tend to think that how someone behaved on one occasion is how they are. However, people show their character over time through many different circumstances. This is why when it comes to dating, it's wise to take time to get to know someone. They may be able to hold in a certain type of behavior for a while, but a complete picture of them will be revealed if you take time to get to know them. Number 5, do they respect my boundaries, my preferences, my needs? This demonstrates respect for another person. We all have boundaries. Sometimes we have a difficult time keeping boundaries. Sometimes we let other people make their priorities our priorities, or we find ourselves giving up certain responsibilities that we have because someone else is in need. Those are signs that people are encroaching on our boundaries. A person who is to be trusted is someone who understands that you have a life, you have responsibilities that you have to take care of that no one else can. If you say to them, I'm sorry, I can't commit to that because I have to take care of my kids, or my job won't let me off early, or I need to get some sleep so I can't take you to the airport at 3:30 in the morning, or whatever the issue is, if they respect your boundaries, that shows a level of trust and responsibility and maturity. We need to have areas of our life that we know God's called us to, we're going to take care of. It builds trust in relationship where we can understand somebody else is taking care of themselves and allowing us to do the same. All right, question 6. Has this person demonstrated trustworthy behavior in the past? This shows the relevance of someone's history. If someone has shown themselves to be untrustworthy in the past and there's been no work done in their lives, no different actions taken in their lives, it's reasonable to expect history to repeat itself. All the aspects of trust I have mentioned, vulnerability, consistency, empathy, conflict resolution, all of that is water that waters the plant of trust. And if someone has not shown himself or herself to be able to grow that plant of trust with someone else, I'd be wary of how much trust you might be able to build with them. On the other hand, if this person has a history of great friendships and maintains healthy long-term friendships or has family relationships that are great, all these would demonstrate that they have a history of healthy relationships. And finally, question 7, do they put in effort to maintain and nurture our relationship? This demonstrates reciprocity. No one likes to feel like they're putting in all of the effort in keeping the relationship afloat. There are definitely some people that are more outgoing and seem to initiate much of the pursuit of that relationship. However, when it's all one-sided, the person doing the pursuing, they'll begin to question how important their relationship is to the other party. And this will begin to erode trust in the relationship. If you have a wonderful friend, a dating partner, a spouse who's doing all of the pursuit, all of the reaching out, be sure you let them know that they are important to you by demonstrating pursuit in that relationship yourself. Call them, set something up, set up a meeting with them. This will deepen their level of trust in you and in that relationship. All right, those are the 7 questions. And now I promised you an exercise you can do to deepen trust in your relationship. This takes some intentionality and time, but it can get you sharing in ways maybe you haven't before. So we're calling this 2 truths and a vision. Find a comfortable place where you can sit, free of distractions. Give yourself about 20 or 30 minutes. And don't make it weird. Don't say, I want to deepen our trust. Just say, I'd like to share about a game I heard about. So when you're sharing your truths, it can be light, but it has to be meaningful and it has to be genuine. And share to your level of trust. So if you're starting out in a relationship, that planting that seed, really watering it, maybe they're a little more superficial. If it's somebody you've known for a very long time, you can go as deep as you want. The truth may be something like, I've been feeling stressed at work lately, or I'm really grateful you made time for me today. And then share a vision, something in your life you've been thinking about doing for a long time. I want to go to school and get my degree, or I want to start my own coaching business. I want to travel to Europe. When someone shares their truths and their vision, respond with empathy, depending on what the truth is, and encouragement. And once you've shared, have the other person go and share about their truth, something that's going on in their life, and maybe a vision that they have. We all have a vision for our lives, which is better than where we are right now. We all aspire to be somewhere else than where we are generally. Very few people feel like they're killing it in every area. So when you're talking to somebody and telling them something true about yourself, you're creating vulnerability. And when you're sharing something about a vision or something you want for yourself in your future, you're really being vulnerable, but also opening up them to be able to pour into your life and encourage you. And this develops trust. I would love to hear you guys share in the comment section below if you've tried it, if you've tried something like this before, and where it went, and how you might have been encouraged or how you might have deepened your trust with somebody. Thank you for stopping by today, and may all your relationships be intentional and thrive.